back to green screen news. Butt shots. Are they still a thing? Apparently, there's a study that... Huh? What? Hey, yo, my man.
That's some
What's
important
going on?
information.
You see me filming, right?
Trust me. Important.
Oh, is it?
Wouldn't want to interrupt.
Okay, all right. We gonna see. Well, let's see what this big news is all about. Oh, God, let's see here. Wow, this is pretty big. It appears that Dungeons & Dragons is a movie that critics and fans both love. But probably the bigger piece of news, global news right here, is that hostage negotiators were finally able to convince Vin Diesel to release Michelle Rodriguez from his garage turned prison in order to film said Dungeons & Dragons movie. Wow, this is crazy, guys. More on this when we return. Yes, YES. Yo, this Dungeons & Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves movie was off the chain. This movie was written and directed by John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein, both of them having a handful of great credits on IMDb, but for me are most remembered from their work on 2018's Game Night. Hilarious and fun. If y'all ain't seen it, you need to check it out. Now this movie stars Captain Kirk, Letty, that sexy dude from Bridgerton, Justice Smith, Sophia Lillis, Hugh Grant, and Dasiy Head. Now, full transparency, I've never played the D&D games and I've never seen the original D&D films. But over the years, I have heard that the game is loved and has a global fan base. Unfortunately, the films that have come out to represent it haven't done it justice. That being said, my review and experience with this film is based solely on what this film gave me. Now, the basic plot of this film follows Chris Pine's character, a guy who's trying to get his family back together and right some wrongs. Along the way, he'll add some interesting individuals to the team, battle some foes, and hope to God that they all succeed in the end. Often, I find that most medieval time and fantasy type movies take a while to get going. I get it. You know, they got to set up the world, the rules, certain species, their abilities. You got the hierarchies and their territories, what groups are beefing, what groups are loyal to each other, and of course, all the other details that go into epics like this so we can be invested in the characters and of course, the big battle in the end. What I thought this film did great was keep a steady and smooth pace from beginning to end. This movie doesn't waste its time with any long-winded character exposition dumping information and backstory necessary to the plot. It just drops us right into this world from the beginning and takes us on a ride. We learn everything that we need to know about this world, the team that we're following, all their abilities and backgrounds as the movie goes on through situations and realistic conversations. Realistic conversations to them, of course. Remember, this is a Dungeons & Dragons movie. I'd be willing to bet that there are hella D&D references and Easter eggs that went straight up over my head. And that could sometimes make a movie like this with so much history and lore behind it hard to follow. But because of the writing and direction and going in with no prior D&D knowledge in order to understand power dynamics between the characters, how it relates to certain plot points and the opportunity to defeat certain enemies. But I never really felt like it mattered because the movie did such a great job at educating me on powers, weapons, and different characters' abilities as it went on. When certain things jumped off, situations or challenges were brought up, I feel like I was right on the same page with the characters. Never missed a beat. Now let's talk tone. A lot of medieval fantasy type films tend to often be on the more serious side, which makes perfect sense because if you're thinking about the plot and the premise, it's necessary. Now this movie was a refreshing change of pace in that it rides the line between impending doom, heart, and perfectly executed and well-placed comedic moments. Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez are the heart and soul of this film. And watching both of them in this film has me standing firm when I say we need more Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez in films today. Now, Michelle Rodriguez does play her usual tough girl character throughout the film, but she also kills it when there is an opportunity for her to be sarcastic, funny, caring, and show some vulnerability, which you know we don't get to see from her that often. Chris Pine, of course, is a G in this. He's a charming, smooth talker and sells all the action scenes with the best of them. And when we need to buy in and believe in his emotional responses to failure or regret, it never feels cheesy or forced. The action is great throughout, and I can't tell you how happy I am that the climax of the movie wasn't them fighting a bunch of mindless minions controlled by a hive mind. Everything in the film leading up to the final battle made sense to that battle. And it was fought with key players with stakes that matter to the story. Personally, I was more invested and had more fun with the final battle in this film, more than some of the most recent Marvel and DC films based on the reasonable stakes that the film set up and the characters' arcs leading into it. Your homie's final thoughts are this: you ain't need to know anything about D&D to enjoy this movie. The lore and mythology is there, but learning it and understanding it as the film goes on does not weigh this movie down at all. Like I said earlier, we need more Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez because when they're in the right film with the right role, they can really bring a lot to the table. Yo, in my opinion, this is a great movie for everybody. Thanks for staying to the end. If y'all can help me reach my goal by getting to 1,000 subscribers by June by clicking that subscribe button, that thumbs up button, or even sharing this video with someone who might be on the fence about this movie, that'd be phenomenal. Thanks in advance. Your homie, Jay Greene, I'm out.